Welcome to another episode, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. I'm here with Dane Coenen, as you know from the show notes and the title of the episode. Before we get to Dane and his story, I want to thank our sponsors, Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Heritage Auctions, Huggins and Scott Auctions, Panini, Topps, and Upper Deck. Dane is, will you be the CEO, founder, co-host of Dynasty Breaks?
A little bit of everything.
Okay.
It's myself, it's George, and Billy as well.
What's the division of labor there? Because you seem to have a lot of fun when you're doing this.
The division of labor, we all do a little bit of everything. I do a lot of the product ordering, and I do a lot of the breaking on camera. And
so who's your hand model?
My hand, I need a lot of work in that area. They call me, all the people in our chat room and our customers say I have the worst thumbs in the world. Because that's all you can see on screen is my bad thumbs.
Well, I think people are probably focused on the cards.
I hope they are.
But tell us about your hobby journey, because you didn't just get into breaking, and that's become very popular in the last few years. But how did you get started as a kid, and now you're an adult and you've got things going? What's your origin story, Dane?
Well, my origin story is I lived in Stillwater, Oklahoma, on the doorstep of Oklahoma State, and I was really big into sports, watching Barry Sanders, Thurman Thomas, all these guys, great baseball teams at OSU, and I was a regular at the local card shops as a kid, and Triple Crown Sports Cards, which is no longer in existence, the owner kind of took me in and said, I want you to come help me, come put sets together for me, come work for me, and so after school, after church, when I wasn't doing my obligations, I was working at the card shop full time.
As a kid. And again, that wasn't an option for me as a kid to get paid to be involved with cards. I actually had to go buy packs instead of, there were no stores back in the day, but every kid in my neighborhood growing up collected. In your neighborhood, collecting was very prevalent?
Yeah, very similar growing up. All my friends collected, we traded.
But you were more serious than them, or they were all kind of serious too?
I wanted to do it all the time. When I do something, I just want to get totally enveloped in it, and it became just a passion for me. I started setting up at shows as a kid to earn extra money, But
then you had a time when you didn't collect, so that's what was going on there, and how did you get back into it after you stopped for a while?
I think life happened. I think when the card store shut down, and which happened to a lot of stores at that time.
Who was Triple Crown, by the way?
Triple Crown Sports Cards. It was a local owner named Earl Williams in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and he did shows all the time. But when he shut his shop down, and I moved to Texas. And at that point, I had no real card shops to go to anymore, and I lost that community, all the talking to everyone about the hobby, and well, you might have said before, high school happened, and
high school happens. Yes, it's possible to do cards through high school, but it's very common not to.
Right.
But then some people pick it back up. Why'd you pick it back up?
I would say around maybe 2013, 2014. Me, like everyone else, started watching things on YouTube, and I would still collect from time to time, put sets together using different, you talk about ComC and eBay and places like that. And I stumbled upon people opening cases of cards on the air, and I said, what is this? And the one thing I noticed was there was a lot of chat going on. There was a lot of people that were talking to each other like they know each other, so I started to get involved, and instead of watching a movie at night, and I know my wife loved this, instead of watching a movie, we'd watch breaks, and we'd watch them talk about cards, and it was just fascinating to me, and it brought back that feeling like when I was a kid,
Well, so it's a very, I consciously decided to do an audio podcast, but it seems like breaking, it's so visual, it's so in the moment, and you seem to really bring the virtual community to the forefront to have real live contemporaneous chat going on right in the middle. You kind of have a rapport with your audience. Was that from the beginning, or is that?
I think that's what we wanted to do different. Interactive is our focus. We don't do as many breaks as other breakers.
Well, doesn't it take longer if you're chatting up in the middle of it?
It does. Yeah. We'll do about 4 nights a week. We're on the air, and we do about 3 cases a night, 5 on Sundays. But we really want to talk about the cards, display them. Our customers talk to each other. They tell us about, they put pictures in our Facebook forum about their children, about maybe some health issues they've had. And it's amazing. We've got customers that send care packages to each other when things are going on. And
well, you got a real sense of community that you built. I think that's really great. Do you think all the breakers do that, or some do it more than others, and you're in the more relational group of breakers?
I think everyone does their own thing. As a new breaker, it's really tough to get product. And I think when we started out, we weren't doing many breaks. And so that kind of led to us having that more interaction. And we decided that's not something we ever want to lose, because that's what
I think that's good.
I have that feeling again, like when I was a kid, you know?
Well, I mean, we've talked in previous episodes about how it can be a solitary activity of collecting, but it also can be a small group. And I guess it can be a huge group too, like going to there's huge shows and places when hundreds or thousands of collectors get together. But the small group of like the neighborhood field that we talked about. So you've kind of created that. If you're doing a team break, then I guess you got somebody for each team.
Yeah,
or some people take more than one.
We combo up teams if they don't have as many of the desirable, like the autographs and things like that.
Do you have to do that in advance? I mean, you just have to know the sport, know what's in the product.
Yeah, we look over checklists ahead of time. We try to on our breaks, we try to just charge market value. Unless it's something that we have to buy off the secondary market. But there's sorting is the big challenge with breaking, sorting and shipping. And
well, the other thing is that if there are listeners out there that are thinking about cases that are being opened on air, and if they're thinking of 1990 Fleer baseball or something like that, where there's 10,000 cards in the case. Now, some of these cases you're breaking are a very small number of cards. So what's the range of numbers of cards that you're breaking, and what's more fun for you, the really, really small exclusive ones or the bigger ones where you've got a lot more to talk about?
I love both. I mean, National Treasures is a big product we do. There's usually about 32 cards in a case, but they're beautiful cards. Most of them are autographed, game-used jerseys, things like that. But I love Topps Allen & Ginter. It is loaded with base cards. It is very quirky, has pop culture autographs, things like that.
Right.
But that's a larger break, and we enjoy both.
But you can't do that by teams, can you? How do you? What's the orientation for a product that has that's not really easily team sorted?
What we'll do is we'll either do teams with about 4 to 5 combo teams in a lot of cases, and then we'll have a non-Major League Baseball spot.
Okay.
Or we'll take the non-Major League Baseball hits and we'll random those to everyone that had a team, and to give everyone a fair shot at the Harrison.
But some of those could be big hits, right?
Harrison Ford auto.
Yeah. What's the best non-baseball card you pulled out of Allen Ginter? That somebody got.
We've only done a few cases. We've got a Mark Summers auto. Do you know who Mark Summers is? From Double Dare? I don't know if you remember.
I thought he was he's not the Nickelodeon guy.
He is.
Yeah. Okay.
That was probably the most.
With the green slime.
Yeah, he's the green slime guy.
Okay. Well, this is unrehearsed, people, but I did happen to be or somewhere where he was, I think.
There was no slime on the card, but and there's also a card of an egg. So I don't know.
Of an egg?
There is a card in Allen & Ginter, and we make fun of this on the air all the time. We actually have bets.
Dinosaur egg?
No, I don't know.
From Game of Thrones?
It's just a large egg. It's sitting on a baseball field, and it says egg. So we make bets before the break how many eggs we're going to pull. So that's very strange.
That is strange.
You didn't think we were going to talk about this, did you?
We do sports card insights. So but if it's in a sports card product, I mean, I think popular culture is cool. And when these sets that are melding the sport with history or culture, I have no problem with that. Again, it's mainly baseball.
It is mainly baseball.
But these other things are good. I think teaching, and it's not just kids. I mean, as an adult, it sounds like you're a lifelong learner, as I am. You get to learn something from opening these. And do you have to, if you get a card on air that's curious like that, what do you do? You just ad lib?
We try to, any knowledge that I do have, I try to say it on the air, but a lot of times we'll look up stuff together and we'll talk about it. And our customers in chat will often say, I know exactly what that is.
Stuff, yeah.
They'll volunteer. So it's great.
And the goal for breaking is that everybody wins and some people win bigger. Is that the philosophy there? It's not like you have one winner and a bunch of losers. The goal is that everybody kind of wins of getting something they want, and then some people might win big.
Yeah, I think the goal is these cases have become so expensive that I don't think you go down to the card store and spend $2,000 for a case for yourself. And a lot of people want entertainment. They want to see a show. A lot of people call this a show about cards.
Yeah.
And for $40 or $50, you can get in. You'll get a team. You'll get a stack of cards, and you may get an autograph of Ken Griffey Jr. You may get an autograph of Vladimir Guerrero.
Well, my point is, people won't keep doing it if they are always losing. So, is there some expectation that they, like 1/3 of the people are going to break even, and 1/3 of the people are going to be a little bit disappointed, and 1/3 of the people are going to be really ecstatic? I
think that's the overall concept. You're always going to have people that are ecstatic that get the big hits, but it's just like buying a box at a card show. You may not get the card you want out of the box. So I think it's very similar to that. But yeah, if you continuously don't get any autographs or anything like that, that could be an issue. But we try to bonus up our breaks as much as possible. We give away a free spot in almost every break. And So if you buy in, you actually have a chance to get 2 teams. So one person gets that every time.
And basically, you're picking the team. Sometimes it's randomized? Or
It is always randomized.
Okay. But then you could trade for your team, right?
You can trade.
And is there a lot of trading activity?
Yeah, a lot of the breaks will have 2 to 3 trades per break. A lot of people will trade 2 teams for one if they really, really want their team.
Oh, okay. Can they trade their slot plus cash, or is it?
They can.
Is it just a even exchange?
They can. We don't, take care of the cash part. We let them do that. A lot of these folks know each other now.
But it has to be like a registered trade.
Correct.
Because you have to put it on. It's not like one of the things that you do, and I think they all reputable and successful breakers do, is there has to be a lot of transparency.
Yes.
And that's what generates the trust. That they can see what you're doing, that it's all there right in front of them.
Yes.
So that what they see is what they get. So, well, we're almost out of time, Dane. Enjoying talking to you, but perhaps you have a question of me. Like I said, I'm not a customer of yours, but I know you're an advertising sponsor for Eric Norton at Fat Packs.
Yes, Eric does a great job.
I really enjoy that longer form and more entertaining podcast. But what question or two might you have for me?
Well, when you go to a card show, what is in your wheelhouse? What are you a large collector of? What type of years or sports or players, or just what is in your wheelhouse?
Well, it's not really my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is probably vintage cards of what I grew up with, but I kind of have those cards now. So what I realize is that I retired 14 years ago.
Wow.
And in the last 14 years, there's a lot of cards that have come out, and I've kind of kept up somewhat, but my strength is more from when I was very active pricing cards. So now when I go to a show, I've got a kind of a wall of fame in my card cave, my man cave. And so basically it's alphabetically by player or celebrity. And so I have a lot of strength in the old cards, but I don't, I needed to get people would say, I love the Cowboys. What do you got with the Cowboys? Oh, here's Roger Staubach. They go, Roger who? Right. And I go, here's Troy Aikman. Troy who? I said, okay, Tony Romo. Tony, they knew you know Tony.
Okay, they did.
And then they said, well, where's Dak?
Right.
Well, I don't have Dak because I didn't really collect with it. So I'll just go through and, at a show and I'll look for cards that are just interesting to me that I haven't seen. I'm not trying to corner the market, but if I see something that looks interesting and then some of the cards, and I think I've mentioned this before, I like, one of the things for all those years, I couldn't really buy cards because I was pricing cards.
Right.
So now if I see a good deal, I think, there's nothing stopping me from buying this. If it's $1 and I think I can sell it for more, through, some, or trade it, whatever, but I think there's value there, then fine. I'll just pick it up. So I don't spend a lot of money, but I just like touching the cards.
Sure.
And so to go through a bunch of cards is fun for me. It always has been. And I hope it always will be. And there are, 10 million different cards that you can get? There's you'll never see them all.
There's a lot.
You'll never see them all. Yeah. So I'm not trying to get one of each. But, if I see a Dirk Nowitzki card that I don't have, I'll pick that up.
Go Mavericks.
Go Mavericks. We'll see what happens this year. If I was a breaker customer of yours, I would want the Mavs. I think they're trending up.
They are.
Thanks, Dane. Appreciate your time today, and best to you with Dynasty breaks. I look forward to watching. I watched one of your shows. Actually, some of them are kind of long.
Some of them are, yeah.
But I watched, and you seem to have a great time, and that's epitome of this hobby, to have fun when you're doing something. And like we're saying, you got paid. I used to get paid for doing something that we love. So it's a great story. So thanks again, Dane. Thanks, listeners. We'll be back tomorrow with another story.
Is doing dollar rates.